That also that owner and those businesses who are looking for more autonomy and more creativity and how to really insert themselves into their own business. That's where Curator has been able to fit in, and we're looking to be an additional resource to those types of owners who are running independence, looking to stay independent.
When you deliver video, which is what we do, you want to tell the story. And we focus on storytelling and neuroscience to try to get people excited enough to book. Oftentimes we walk through, like, tell me about the history. And there may be an origin story for some of the brand properties, but man, it shines through with the independence. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Moments That Matter podcast, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the pivotal moments that have shaped today's leaders. Today, I'm joined by Brent Hayhurst from Curator. Brent, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time. You and I have maybe a year and a half history. I've seen you at some events. People speak so highly of you. For those who don't know you or haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, can you give a little background about you and Curator?
Sure can. So, Brent Hayhurst, I'm the Vice President of Program Development for Curator Hotel and Resort Collection. And so the Curator Hotel and Resort Collection launched at the end of 2020. So we're a newer group. We're membership-based exclusively for independent owners, boutique and lifestyle, ultimately looking to help them to create opportunity and drive scale in this very competitive market.
Awesome. And where are you based out of now?
Curator is headquartered in Bethesda, Maryland, and I am in the DC area. Been here for 25 years.
Awesome. And as VP of program, what are some of the activities that we would see you doing day to day? What are you kind of overseeing to drive value for the customer?
Yeah, my focus is exclusively on basically building out our value proposition. And so I work day to day with our vendor partners. We spend a lot of time, in the initial years, kind of turning through RFPs and vetting and conversations, and we're continuing to do that based on what we find in the industry, what's out there, and helping to identify those solutions that are most primed to drive value into the independent hotel model.
Yeah, I've got to assume that it's maybe a push and a pull, right? There's some things that you see that you say, hey, this might be useful. And then are there other things, though, that your members are coming to you saying, like, hey, what's the best in this specific vertical?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the more interesting parts of the Curator model is that, we're doing our independent vetting and really selecting solutions based on the value that they can drive. It's not a pay-for-play platform. Our vendors, it's not a marketing kind of pitch for them. Like, ultimately, everyone we work with, we're working with because of what their solution provides and what additional value we can drive to our members, through our preferred program. But it's a pick and pull because we're kind of doing that part on behalf of the members, but also learning from each of our hotels. What are you doing? Like, how are you using something? What's the value that that this is bringing to you, or other things that you've tried that we can learn from to see if that's something that could potentially become something that's more of a Curator wide program that others should consider as well.
Right. Is there anything right now that people are asking for in the membership base?
I think you could hit on all the buzzwords. A lot going on right now in the AI world. We're also continuing to look at just operational efficiencies in general. I mean, certainly there's been a lot of effort in the hospitality industry across partners and a willingness to collaborate and integrate and try to alleviate some of the friction of someone behind the front desk having to log into 7 different systems in order to check someone in or to facilitate a guest request. And so that's been certainly kind of a favorable trend. And we're continuing to sort of see, what does that ultimately do to the operating model? Is there cost efficiencies? Does it streamline operations in a different way? Does it potentially, kind of help an owner to better manage their labor model by being able to automate some things and repurpose someone to do more meaningful work?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I was reading on your LinkedIn. So prior to this, you had spent 6 years with Hilton. How do you feel like overseeing the size of the team? It looked like 40 people that you had there. Overseeing a multi-billion-dollar company, that many employees prepared you to now go out and help the little guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly Hilton is an amazing organization. I think the global reach, certainly kind of helped to build out, an understanding of what hospitality means, across the world. And then what's been most interesting to me with Curator is that, well, a lot of my work at Hilton was above property focused, and it's helping to kind of to create, either, drive, different, changes in programs or to support what the above property, teams were looking to build out to support owners and the management teams. The focus of Curator is much more, on the property level. And so just, what, I've been able to pick up and support, from on property operations has been an amazing transition and just an entirely, different lens on the overall hospitality industry.
Yeah, I'm sure you had to vet quite a few solutions through your time there. So it kind of feels like you took so many reps that you're the perfect person for this role.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, there's a lot more flexibility on the independent side. You can take more calculated risks. You can, work with our hotel teams to understand how something fits within their tech stack versus trying to kind of fit it within the predefined box. And so that's also been fantastic, and just really getting a chance to work with a variety of different emerging technologies that in the brand world, would take a lot longer to kind of churn through compliance and review processes.
Yeah, that's totally true. We see that ourselves. So just taking it back, how did you get your start? So did you grow up in the DC area as well?
No, I originally hail from West Virginia, born and raised there, like through undergrad, and then ended up moving to the DC area. Just seemed like an interesting fit. Had a few people who had already found themselves here from friends that have graduated before me. So it's just been a great fit. I think, what I love most about living in the DC area for 25 years is that I've never worked in government. I have sometimes had to have people remind me that this is where, government happens. It's just been a fantastic place to live. And I've found myself, kind of working in a variety of industries here. So the opportunities have been great.
It must be interesting being so close to where everything happens, but the parties switching constantly as
That's right.
well.
Yeah.
Uh, so people coming and going.
Yeah. Remind me what's happening right now. No.
So when was it? A lot of times we have guests on, they talk about getting their break in hospitality or why they ended up being in hospitality originally, kind of bit by the bug. I just mentioned on a previous episode. What was it for you? How did you make your way into hospitality?
Yeah, so Hilton was my dive in. So I joined Hilton, after working for Verizon for 10 years. And so had to cut my teeth firmly in, telecom, worked in the energy industry before that, when I first moved to the DC area. And so what I kind of found, what always interests me about hospitality, from realizing that being in the DC area, Marriott has been headquartered here forever. Once Hilton, moved from Beverly Hills to McLean, that's, obviously kind of had the sense that that was going to open up a lot of different opportunities. People, could be shifting kind of mind sharing between, Marriott and, looking for other roles, could potentially create, more opportunities within hospitality. And it's just something that I think like kind of innately, with my personality, just felt like that was the sort of industry that I could really kind of find a voice in and thrive. And so I certainly kind of, from looking at, what the career options looked like, specifically, kind of set my sights on, those two key players to understand, what opportunities would look like for me.
So having Marriott be so close, though, was there a reason why you gravitated toward Hilton?
Ultimately, Hilton, it was just sort of like the perfect timing. The role that I went into was very much aligned with the work that I had been doing, like on the business development side at Verizon. And so I was able to kind of pivot, my work in working alongside sales teams and understanding contracts and working closely with legal resources to kind of fit directly into the role that I ended up having at Hilton, which sat in the legal team, but worked closely with the business leaders across the full commercial services organization.
Jeez. Yeah. That's it's always interesting how people make the first, if their first entry point into hospitality is at the corporate, how that trajectory really changes. Their life versus like working individually as like a bellman and then moving your front desk, right? I think the trajectory goes differently. For you, what made you make the jump from Hilton out to Curator Hotel and Resort Collection?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, COVID happened. So that impacted a lot of people in the industry. I was certainly one of them. Everyone sort of took, their steps to keep the lights on, so to speak, with, what was happening with, hotels, having to shut their doors and they weren't operating, and that had a significant impact on what the resources looked like at the corporate level too. And so the timing of Curator's launch, just coming online at the end of 2020, was a timely opportunity for me. And, luckily one, and within, just having to reach out, through the interview process and understanding more about the focus and what their launch plan and goals were, it just ultimately provided the right fit to load me in on the team. So I've been happy to kind of be part of the vision with Curator since the beginning, and I've enjoyed so what we've been able to grow to date.
Yeah, I love the mission of what you guys are doing. When we first looked at the industry and the dynamics of it, because you do some level of research, you say there's an opportunity here, and we looked at the dynamics with the OTAs, and we made a decision right then and there after analyzing the power dynamics, and we're just like, we're not going to service these people because people were telling us, oh, your technology is great, you should go to Expedia or Travelocity, and we just looked at it and we're like, we have an opportunity to make these people look and appear bigger, put them on parity, but give them a solid footing, and you all do that every day, right? I mean, that's your whole business. We're helping to make our small dent in their business, but it's such a worthwhile cause to give them a level playing field.
Yeah, and I think the way that we look at it is that every you know there's a place for all in the hospitality industry. Certainly, the brands provide a valuable resource, with how they're building out their franchise markets, and there's a model there that makes sense for a lot of owners. But there's that also that owner and those businesses who are looking for more autonomy and more creativity and how to really insert themselves into their own business, and run the business, in a more proprietary way. And so that's where, Curator has been able to fit in, and we're looking to be an additional resource to those types of owners who are running independence, looking to stay independent, but trying to find ways that potentially to kind of hit the easy button in some areas. So where we can help them drive scale, through negotiation power, across 80 plus properties, in a variety of different areas of their P&L, or help to unlock, certain opportunities now on the revenue distribution side. That's ultimately our goal, and what kind of keeps us going on a day-to-day basis with the type of work that we're doing with each of those teams.
Yeah, one of the greatest pleasures of us in the work that we're doing with our clients is just getting to know their story. So when you deliver video, which is what we do, you want to tell the story, and we focus on storytelling and neuroscience to try to get people excited enough to book in a single session. And so oftentimes we walk through like, tell me about the history, and there may be an origin story for some of the brand properties, but man, it shines through with the independents, and a lot of times they have so much skin in the game. And maybe one or two they're operating and they've got everything riding on it and they want to make it right, and so the story just comes through. I feel like the work means more, when they're fully vested in it, and we're trying to help them tell that story.
Yeah, and I mean, the way we look at it, obviously it becomes a little bit of a numbers game, with the way that, we kind of think about it in hospitality. Well, how many properties are you? How big are you? How many locations? How many countries? All of that kind of, plays, into the story just to kind of understand, kind of where you fit in the pecking order of things. But ultimately, the way that we've structured our program and how we work with each of these members, each property is ultimately looked at as a portfolio of one. Like they are doing something unique. Even properties that fall underneath common management teams or ownership groups, they're ultimately, underneath the independent model, still have their own unique challenges. It may be location based. It may be, inheriting an outdated tech stack that needs to be cared for and, and someday reviewed. But everything that we do, we think of each property as certainly as a unique entity, and looking to provide them with very personalized solutions for what it is that they are looking for and how we can help them.
Absolutely. And as someone who, obviously, your customers will bring you problems, they'll say, hey, we want to do this, we don't know what to use. But you're also probably, right, as we mentioned, out there looking for solutions, vetting different groups. What's the information taken process like for you? Where do you in your group tend to try to get your information about what's out there in the industry?
It's a variety of ways. Like we kind of already talked about, there's a very, very much a collaborative approach, with Curator. Let's understand what you're doing today. Sometimes, we don't always, look at ourselves as having to be the first mover. If something is working in a property and we can learn from it and potentially drive that similar solution, for other properties, we'll happily do that. We spend a lot of time, myself in particular, going to industry conferences, the larger trade shows, high tech hospitality show, independent hotel show, like those that provide a great avenue just to have those initial conversations to where you can spend a few minutes to understand a solution and then figure out, kind of what the next steps look like. The biotech conferences in the industry have also been really successful for us, just in giving you that little bit of a one-on-one, speed dating approach, so we can kind of go through the process of really kind of planning, like, hey, like I don't know what's going to happen on that large trade floor, but I know that I'm going to go and spend 2.5 days there. I'm going to have at least 20 to 30 conversations, with to be able to understand kind of fully, what's happening, what's out there, and be able to figure out, where our conversations go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are always fun events. I always see you out as well. So we spend a good amount of time on the road. You've got to be out half the month, right? Out at events.
I know it seems like it, it definitely kind of ebbs and flows for us. But we certainly kind of view ourselves as, again, it's a resource for our members. We want to be out there. We want to be visible. We want to be driving conversations and getting people to think about independence in a different way. And so that's really, what our focus is between myself and the other, key members of the Curator team. Our goal is to be out there, to be visible, to be that voice, and to help drive those different discussions on behalf of the members.
So that's super interesting. I've never heard it said that way. People be like, hey, this is an independent hotel, but as the independent hotel, when you say thinking about their independence, right, that just kind of has a different tone to it. What exactly do you mean by them thinking about their own independence?
Because ultimately they're still able to make their own decisions. So how we support them is more of a consultative base. Once we are working with a partner, we've identified a solution, we're presenting it to them and helping to build their education around it. So let us understand, how this fits for you, what you might be looking at, or do you have other problems that you're looking to solve for? Are you focused, on AI more from guest communication perspective, or to facilitate more back of house, automation workflow? What is it that we can help you so that we're not just pushing, things to you blindly. We're trying to have more collaborative discussions around what that ultimately means, and how we can overall support your operation.
Oh, that's fantastic. So then the intake process for a new hotel, a new independent hotel coming in, it seems like it's white glove service. You get to know them, their initiatives, who they are, their identity, who they want to be, and then tailor fit the solutions for their autonomy, what they want.
That's right. And so when a property still first comes on to the collection, whether, we've already kind of pre-qualified, some of the opportunities, through the prospecting process and conversations that our team is having, with those owner and management company representatives. But then the moment they come into the platform, they have 6 months where that's sort of the real qualification point of view. We're working with them to gather invoices, gather information, on their tech stack, things that we knew, things that we didn't know, in order to determine, what ultimately the additional value is that Curator will support for them. Because the way that our model is structured, it's very much owner centric in that if we are just going to be another cost on your P&L, then it may not be the right fit for you. Ultimately, our goal is to create incremental value that creates an ROI for your participation in Curator. And so our membership model is very flexible from that perspective. In that, we have seen hotels come and go even within our short going on 5-year span, because we have to be in a position to where they're willing to work with us. There's decisions that can be made or new opportunities that can be discovered in order to work hand in hand with those teams to continue to create that value.
Incredible. And when you say flexible membership options, do you have different membership levels? Is that correct?
We did just launch a new membership level, which is a marketing only, because we've started to do a little bit of work in more kind of, quote, brand level marketing, to where we're supporting awareness and driving top of funnel into the hotel sites themselves, just to help them to better compete and kind of streamline, where they're spending their money from on SEM and their digital marketing efforts. And then from the flexibility really comes into whether you're looking at the full operational program, from a cost savings perspective, or our marketing only. A hotel owner has the opportunity to leave at 60 days at any time, because things happen. The hotel may be sold, a management company may switch out and could change a dynamic. There could be a name change. We have seen some owners choose to go to soft brands, and others that we've brought in, based on conversions back into independent. And so there's always kind of that change. And so we never want to feel like our program is an anchor that's holding someone back from making a business decision that makes sense, for what they're looking to accomplish. We always want to be a partner in that. And so we maintain that flexibility, probably to our own, maybe to our own detriment in some cases, but we want to make sure that we're ultimately always being a good partner from that perspective.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And anytime someone can't make a decision because the terms are onerous and they can't tell what's happening in the future, it might be a detriment to you guys. I doubt it. I think it's like a good return policy, right? Like it instills confidence that I do want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and make this purchase. But if something changes, it's easy to undo. The marketing only sounds like a no-brainer as well for an independent who doesn't have to go out and vet tons of tools, because I'm sure they're getting hit up by tons of vendors all the time. And in a sea of sameness, it's hard to differentiate and say, well, I don't know which one's the best. I don't know which one is going to give me instant value and if I'm getting the best price. And so for you to come in with tools that are battle tested, and you say, here's the playbook, you can have a discussion with us, but that's amazing, especially if they feel like they're pretty solid operationally and with their PMS and everything. You all come in and just drive traffic and help conversions. That's
Yeah.
a solid offering.
Yeah, and I mean, again, and I think like, for what we've been able to accomplish, through our program, we work with some of the best management teams in the business, on the independent side, and also with a number and growing of self-managed properties that don't have that same layer of resources and scale, and that we've been able to uncover opportunity and help to support those both of those types of groups, from that perspective. And so it really is a matter of really, for better word, curating, what it is that they need and how we can support them just to provide more efficiency and scale into that operation.
That's wild. When we first started Hover, we started selling to hospitality. It was a SaaS company, and my kind of mindset has always been we want to be earning your business every single month. Like if there's a month where you think we didn't earn your money, you could cancel, right? You just stop. And it was only through conversations where the actual hotels themselves were asking for the agreements because that's expected to be. But I kind of took the same way that you all did. I mean, not that you still have agreements, right? But there's an out. But I always thought, hey, if something changes, if you don't think we're providing value, you can just get out. And it was actually the industry that caused us to do the 1 year agreements. But we still almost always have some type of caveats to where if you're not happy, if you don't see the value, just let us know. And that's not happened, thank goodness. But I think it's just good business, and it instills a boatload of confidence for people that, hey, if it doesn't work, I want people to feel confident trying it, because once they
Yeah.
try it and they see the videos, and we log everything in their admin, so you can see this video was just watched. Oh, somebody just clicked this and they paid us $280. They checked out. Well, okay, this thing's working. And so once you see that, it kind of softens it for everyone. But you want to make sure as many people as possible try it without the fear of being locked in.
That's right. I mean, there's definitely it's basically, a performance guarantee, and ultimately, that there's different circumstances that could result in, where that value, isn't doesn't come out to be the way that we would have expected or what we would have hoped, for a property, whether that's change over to property level, which changes dynamic, or just general engagement or willingness to look at different opportunities. But ultimately, that's where we leave that to the conversations that we have with the properties, to where if it's not going to be a long-term fit, we're free to kind of part ways from that perspective. But our goal is to really kind of just continue to present enough and a variety of opportunities within our program that there really is something for everyone, and there's always a conversation to be had. And that's the way we kind of feel like it. If you're in the middle of a tech stack change, we're working with some of the best solutions in the industry from there. If you're looking to add, address a new regulatory, issue with housekeeping or parking, or operation, or considering outsourcing versus in-house, we have different conversations that we can have, that we can pinpoint across the variety of resources within our preferred vendor network, to where there should be kind of constant evolution and constant improvement, opportunity for what we can continue to drive in conversations.
Forgive my ignorance. I had no idea you did that broad range of services. That is incredible. So basically, anything that comes up for an independent hotel, anything operationally,
That's been our goal. Certainly there's still, some gaps or things that we haven't quite been able to figure out, the right path for. But for the most part, we can do everything from, credit card processing and tech stack, to call center, to making sure that you're looking at procurement in the right way by linking you up with the right GPO, in order to help you to make sure that you're streamlining all aspects of your operation as best fit for you.
that's incredible. Really awesome. And you mentioned getting your some of the information about vendors and just in general information about the industry from events. What's on your fall schedule? What do you guys have coming up for events?
A couple of biotech conferences coming up. Our
You,
president, Jim Barnwell, will be on the main stage at the hospitality show. So we'll be hoping to connect with vendor partners and members there. And then, we'll kind of see, what else, may come up, on the calendar. I think we were very heavy at the beginning of the year, and so have scheduled a bit of a light load here towards the end of the year, just to kind of be able to fully kind of take care of, everything that we have in the hopper right now, and then be able to continue to hit the ground running in 2026.
fantastic. What is the discussion on the main stage about?
I have not been privy yet to the conversation, but it'll be fantastic. It'll be the best one.
I haven't heard her speak yet. I haven't heard her speak yet, but I really would like to. That's awesome. And we're going to owners, biotech owners. Are you going to a different one as well? That one and another?
I am going to sustainability this next week, so that'll be exciting. Just that'll be the second annual one, and so we're interested to hear, what's happening and where the thought leaders are kind of thinking in the different directions in that world. And then we may have one of my colleagues maybe attending the upcoming biotech owners as well. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Oh yeah, we will. We'll be down there. We always love those events. They're so much fun, and I think that the work that Rich and his team do to facilitate the personal relationships, having fun, doing things for charity and service of others, it's always a great time. When you go to the Bitex, which side of the table do you sit on?
So we're on the hotelier side because we're there actively seeking out vendor solutions. And obviously, we're there just to learn and actually kind of who the others are there around the table as well. So to understand, what's happening within our fellow hotelier space as well as across the vendor side. But our goal, at those events isn't, certainly to kind of present, our membership, so to speak, or to sell. Like, we're there to truly kind of understand the industry, and see, where conversations, could develop naturally from there.
It's a great model though for folks like yourself, because you're there educated, you're trying to find out about stuff, but then you're also in the room with other hotels that may need the services. That's a fantastic event. I had not considered that previously for you
Yeah.
guys. That's really awesome. On more of a personal note, so being in hospitality, where's one of the favorite best destinations you've ever been to?
Good question. I would say the most probably picturesque, kind of like jaw-dropping trip I've been on is Cape Town, South Africa. It's just a gorgeous part of the world. Um, and I'm also a ski bum, so anytime you can put me, on a mountain, I am happy to be there.
What about that's I think Cape Town came up two or three times now in about 20 episodes. What was it for you that was the best part?
I think it's just in general, I mean, just the the overall climate and area, gorgeous, with Table Mountain, and I do love like a great kind of city center, but being able to kind of easily move around. Also, if you haven't been to the South African wine region, I recommend it. I mean, it is there's some amazing winemakers coming out of that part of the country, and I'd say that that's almost like pushed me to be exclusively Southern Hemisphere since that trip.
That's awesome. Were you there originally for business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for someone to pay that bill for me to go back for business. So
I know, right? It's always interesting seeing the event schedules and where they are. And I think there is some aspect to it, right? You look at the calendars, you go, okay, that's going to be a great event. And it is in an interesting place. There's a little more appeal to it when you see those types of things come up.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously with Curator, we're focused exclusively right now, just sort of in driving interest in the US. And so all of the conferences and kind of industry events that, where we focus on, have been US centric. So we don't attend a lot of industry things internationally. But certainly continue to keep an eye on things and understand, from a tech perspective, where there really is, kind of, limitless borders, from that perspective as to, how we could expand outside the US in the future.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm sold. I love your program. I love everything behind it. You know, your efforts to help your customers achieve their greatest potential. If somebody's listening, they're interested, they're not a Curator Hotel and Resort Collection member yet, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find out more information about this?
Yeah, we Curator Hotels and Resorts.com. We have an interest link on our for hotels page there. You can also get a feel for the types of properties, who we work with. We work with amazing properties, total of 81 as of yesterday. We had a new member join. And but ultimately we're sort of, looking at where we can fit in and help an owner, kind of regardless of your location or what type of property you have or what you're looking to do with your business. Yeah, we're always welcome to have the conversations and explore, where there could be synergies and opportunities.
Great, great. And just two quick other items here. One is, uh, what is the most uh, I guess what about your role at Curator brings you the greatest joy? When are you the happiest when you're at work?
I think when the hotel teams are happy, when we can hear from someone that, oh my God, this is finally working. That's a huge, lift. We've had a few, operational struggles, where we just you sort of like, hey, I just wish I was kind of there in the trenches with you and able to help out, but we kind of, are playing, a much, higher role there. But, where we can, find that right fit, solve that operational issue, that really, is huge, just kind of helping to understand, this is why we're doing this, because the people, who are there kind of, dealing with it day to day and ultimately trying to provide a guest with a with a unique stay experience. When we make them successful, we feel successful.
Oh, absolutely. Do you have a dream client? Do you have on the member side, a resort, an independent hotel where you say that, man, if we ever got that one, that would be a great success for us. I'd love to have them.
Gosh, I mean, personally, I would say, all of them, right? Like, come talk to us. I can't think of one, and I'm probably too in the weeds of the vendor world, to kind of, think through that. But there are, so many fantastic properties, out there, in groups that are doing great things. And if, they feel like, Curator, may not be the right fit for them, or there could be conflicts, with what we do. I think we just are always willing to have the conversation and just understand, where if that's truly the case and that there's something we can do to work together to continue to drive this segment of the industry forward.
That's great. I had, when we first started, I didn't think about life in terms of dream clients, but there's a couple places that I had been where I was always like, man, that'd be really cool. And I talk about London House in Chicago, Don Barnett in particular. You know Don, right? Maybe at a BiTech, you met him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Great guy. And, I used to take people up to the rooftop lounge. It's like the place. It was ranked number two a rooftop in the country, only being beat out by a place in DC actually. And so that was for me the dream one, where I told everybody, as soon as we started building the technology, I'm like, what would be really cool one day is if we could actually service the London House. And so when I met him, I told him that. Hopefully, I don't know if it had much to do with his decision making, but it was really cool to come full circle and be able to support those guys over there.
Yeah. Well, I've spent many nights on that rooftop as well. So
That's a good spot. Last but not least, for younger people who may be graduating college or in their first or second job in hospitality, what advice would you have for someone who's trying to climb either at the property level or on the vendor side for moves they should make in their career?
yeah, I mean, I think not to sound trite, but I think no job is too small. That just everything that you can do on a daily basis, what you can learn from, even just doing your job, to the best of its ability, or being willing to jump in and learn, something new. I think that the more well-rounded, a professional can be, the more opportunities, could come your direction, or, ultimately, it'll help you to find the right path. I think there's not, I think very few people these days have a very straight line path that I've gone to school for this, I'm going to do this job, and I'm going to move in succession, in this part. I think most people have a very windy road. And I think, taking advantage of the opportunities that each of those curves along the way throw you only makes you a stronger candidate for the next role, and to ultimately help you to get something where you truly feel valued and truly feel like the career is the best fit for you.
Wonderful. Well, Brent, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us today. Greatly appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed the conversation, Jason.
So once again, special thank you to Brent Hayhurst from Curator Hotel and Resort Collection. And thank you for listening in once again to this fantastic episode. As always, if you'd like to get updated of new episodes, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like this, you found value in it, please like. Thanks so much and have a great day.